Oh, hello, and welcome to One More Time with Sam Bashor, the show that will help you justify rewatching your favorite movies and shows one more time. You can both watch and listen to this at youtube.com/SamBasher and on any podcasting platform you could ever think of. Even Apple Podcasts, eventually. I've reached out. I have no idea why it's not on that app anymore. But you could download the Anchor FM app. That's free. It's free to use. Also, you can send me voice memos on there. Yeah, I'll even play them on the show. Pretty cool. And a big thanks to the sponsor of today's episodes, Baby Sky Bison, because holy crap, they're cute little bundles of wool just flying around like little clouds. Also worth mentioning, very soon I'm going to be revisiting something I'm not quite fond of. Transformers: The Last Night with my Only Stupid Answers co-host, DJ Wooldridge. We did a review for it years back when it hit theaters, and boy, howdy did it make me want to put a drill through my brain. So I'm excited to dive back in one more time to see what the good stuff is and what the really bad stuff is. If there are any other movies or series you want me to check out, make sure you tweet me your ideas or send in little voicemails on the Anchor app. I'm at Sam Bashor. Anywho, enough business. Let's hop back into Avatar: The Last Airbender. Today we'll be discussing episode 3 and 4 of season 1, book 1, Water, the Southern Air Temple, and the Warriors of Kyoshi. Let's start with the Southern Air Temple, cause chronology. Oof boy. Ooh boy. Grab some tissues because the boys are crying in this one. Here's a synopsis for those who want it. After his departure from the Southern Air Temple 100 years ago, an excited Aang finally returns home, but is disillusioned by what he finds there. So we're digging into the emotional repercussions of 100 years as an ice cube. By the way, you ever tried using those ice molds where you can get like ice balls for your like cocktails, or like they make other shapes of like pop culture figures like Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They never work right for me. But anywho, maybe I'm doing them wrong. Anywho, big shout out to the art director and show co-creator Brian Konietzko for the beautiful landscapes in this episode and the next, as well as the layout of the Southern Air Temple. So now we know why Aang and Appa's icy clubhouse ended up in Sokka and Katara's backyard. The Southern Air Temple is very close to the Southern Water Tribe. And let's give a big shout out to the first B-tier villain of the show, Commander Zhao, voiced by none other than Jason Isaacs, aka Papa Malfoy from the Henry Porter franchise. I'm a big fan of this man, and I'm down for this race against the clock scenario between Zhao and Zuko to find the Avatar. Zhao is extremely capable and sets up a genuine threat right out the gates. Back at the Air Temple, we find out that Quidditch exists in this world. Thank God. I was worried. But seriously, I like how they're able to establish a culture for the different bending communities early on, like how they have their own sports. Doesn't seem really fair to knock Sokka on his butt without a warning. Aang is kind of a jerk in these first few episodes, but hey, you missed 100 years. You're trying to play catch up. Or maybe he's just used to being a prankster along with his other prankster pals in the airbending culture of old. Shout out to Sab Simono, who voices Monk Gyatso and also stars in one of the greatest installments of the TMNT franchise of all time, Turtles in Time. Second TMNT reference of this episode. Not doing too bad. Also, I'm interested as to why the monks told Aang he was the Avatar at such a young age. It's probably because of the Fire Nation about to attack, but who can say? But I am a big fan of Aang being taught by his previous lives, or at least the idea of it, and I can't wait to get to Avatar Roku's origin story. But before him, we get Momo. By the way, Momo means peaches in Japanese. We actually see Momo eat a peach later on, so that makes sense. Oh, he's so cute that Sokka just wants to eat him. Also, shout out to the first mention of the Agni Kai Firebender duel, and also the first mention of Zuko and his papa going at it in Agni Kai. That probably went well. Probably didn't give him a gigantic scar on his face. Who's to say? Probably went as well as finding those bones of Monk Gyatso. Two things I noticed during this rewatch. One, I still cry like a baby during the scene. I was actually super surprised by how emotional I got. They do not pull their punches in these early episodes. And two, Monk Gyatso 100% killed these guys, right? Sucked the air out of the room, or maybe sick some baby sky bisons on them, maybe like a little baby Appa picked these guys up and dropped them from like 100 feet up in the air. All I'm saying is that's a lot of dead bodies around only one dead airbender. Also worth asking, are the other Avatar temples lighting up because Aang is so close to another Avatar temple while he goes into the Avatar state? Or is it because this is such an emotional response to finding out that he's all alone now? Or maybe because this is the first time-ish in 100 years-ish since he's used it? You'll let me know your theories on Twitter or in the comment section. There's a comment section somewhere. But back at the Agni Kai, we get to see some pretty solid action between Zhao and Zuko and establishing both of them as expert firebenders. Boy howdy, I like the idea of firebending, but I never want anyone to point that at me. Please, for the love of God. And also during this, we get an example of that pesky honor Zuko will be screaming about when he chooses not to burn Zhao, which I appreciate. And you can see that Zhao's a little cockroach of a man when he tries to attack a teenager. Good for him. And flipping back to Aang one more time, I'm glad that we get to see the relationship between Katara and Aang blossoming when she's able to calm him down and able to relate with him with losing her mother. And I'm glad that Momo is able to join the team and remind Aang that his fellow airbenders may be gone, but he can still preserve his culture in some way. This episode really got me. Honestly, they give it like a 9 out of 10. But let's hop into episode 4, The Warriors of Kyoshi. So quickie synopsis for those who are curious. The gang arrives at Kyoshi Island and are captured by the Kyoshi Warriors. When Aang reveals that he is the Avatar, news quickly spreads out and suddenly reaches Prince Zuko, who then goes to Kyoshi Island to capture him. I'm glad we start learning about previous Avatars in the cycle so early on in the series. It's so cool. Also, I'm glad that we eventually start to move away from Sokka's sexism real soon. Really hope so. Not the biggest fan of it. But I am a fan of the elephant koi and the Unagi that ate 3 of them, like, immediately. Or, like, just drowned them. Not really sure. But how do any of those creatures survive being that big? Because that Unagi ate 3 of them immediately. Or at least 2. 2 gigantic whale-sized animals. I'm splitting hairs here. Doesn't quite matter. They're all cool. And you know who else is cool? Suki. First appearance in the series. Big fan of her. Later, the Kyoshi Warriors. So cool. And I love that people are celebrating the return of the Avatar. This is the first outsiders, not including the Southern Water Tribe or the Firebenders that know, but like these are the regular civilians who now know that the Avatar is back and their future is a little bit hopeful. And you get like a Beatles-esque chase scene with the crowd that's chasing Aang. Super cute. He's got a fan club. It's kind of weird because they're so young, but he's young too. He's a child. It made me feel weird. But back with the Warriors, I love the way this show displays the capabilities of its characters. For example, the Kyoshi Warriors also utilize the folded fan as a blunt object to stunt or knock out opponents, or tying up opponents instantaneously. Super cool. Doing some quick research, it looks like this fighting style is based off of the Tensen Jutsu, which is a feudal Japanese fighting technique where the fighter would use a fan made out of iron, which makes sense that they're knocking people out or knocking things out of trees with them. Pretty cool, and I wish Sokka actually wore this outfit more often, because he's killing it. But back with Aang acting a fool, I just looked up unagi, and that means eel, of course. I mean, if anyone watched Friends, you might remember that one episode. I remember because I used to play Friends Seen It all the time, and I killed it. 100%. Best sport for Sam, I'll tell you that much. The one where he is the best at. Not breaking bones while playing Seen It, I'll tell you that much. But anyways, talking about unagi and crazy animals, I'm a big fan of the rhinos, or Komodo rhinos. We learned that name later on in the series, but just wanted to throw it out there. Lizard rhinos, big fan. And honestly, during this entire scene of Zuko taking on the Kyoshi Warriors and the civilians on Kyoshi Island, how do regular people just have lives? How are they not in constant fear all the time? I mean, we're going to have to find out how maybe a fighter could take on a bender in both Korra and in this series. But here's another question for you. After Aang and the gang escape and put out the fires, what makes them think that Zuko won't turn around and punish the people who have fought alongside the Avatar? Because we saw them. They didn't fare so well, even with the Avatar there. I'm sure Iroh wouldn't just let Zuko mercilessly attack civilians, but Zuko's got a temper. All I'm saying is that it's worth keeping that in the back of your brain as we make our way through this series. But anywho, what did you guys think of these episodes? My first negative one more time episode is going to be coming out very soon, so make sure you check that out on YouTube, and you will be seeing my face next week with both reviews. I'm just getting very picky about how the show should look, and I want to make sure that it looks the best when I deliver it to you guys, so I hope that you guys enjoy it. Make sure you keep your eyes out on Apple Podcasts, because the podcast will be there soon, but make sure you download Anchor FM. It's a free app. You can also go to the website and send in voice memos, because I want to play them on the show. They can be your thoughts on the episodes that we watch, or the movies, or suggestions, or just random thoughts. I can play it on here. But also tweet me your thoughts at Sam Bashor. You can follow me on Instagram as well. And gang, I want to hear your suggestions for what I should be watching, and I want to hear your thoughts on these shows and your theories as well, because I know these shows have ended, but also let's kind of like dig into the nitty gritty. That's the fun part about doing this show. But until next time, stay hydrated, my dudes.